It's that time again. Let's recap the latest episode of Love and Marriage DC. Actually, season 1's finale. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So, I know you're wondering, Kempire, when we're going to get back to live recaps. This week, you may have noticed that I've set 2 live videos that will be available for tomorrow. We're going to recap all of that good stuff. But I had to get into Love and Marriage DC because season 1 is a wrap. And of course, the reunion looks like it's going to be good. All the ladies look great. And there's a lot to unpack. And as you know, with any sort of reunion, they're going to be talking about things and reliving things that might spark issues among the ladies. But a lot of people have been saying on Twitter, and I can't deny it, if there was no winter drama this season, if there was no Ashley, this show would have been a womp 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 womp. Play the sound effects in your head. It really would have been. And I don't think by the end of the season we feel differently about Monique Samuels. So as you know, Monique, formerly of the Real Housewives of Potomac, I said to you guys before, when I saw Monique on Potomac, I didn't love Monique. I didn't hate Monique. Monique, for me, really shined at that final reunion. And we saw a Monique that we hadn't seen before. And unfortunately, it was because of that very dark moment of getting physical on reality TV, which no one enjoyed, no one wanted, including Monique. But she really came into her own in that moment. I was like, I need to see more of this Monique. So I was interested to see what Monique would bring to Love and Marriage DC, the newest iteration of the Love and Marriage franchise. It's now a franchise. It started off with Huntsville, now we're in DC. DC has a lot of potential, and not just because of Monique, not just because of the show. DC, the city, is it considered a city? You guys will let me know. Just the area has a lot of potential, a lot of black money, a lot of people that are doing well in the city. But just because you're doing well doesn't mean you want to be on reality TV and let people know you're doing well. And I've said this over and over again, and some people, including the cast, are like, oh, you're a hater. No, I'm reviewing a show. And I'm giving you a perspective on what I've noticed. And now that we're at the end of the season, I still feel the same about these couples. I'm so happy that we got introduced to Ashley. Bravo missed an opportunity by not putting her on Potomac. Word on the street that some of these couples did want to be and did try to be on the Real Housewives of Potomac, and it just didn't happen. Ashley would have been stellar on there. But look, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. And that's exactly what happened with Ashley. We got her on this show. And I really enjoy not just Ashley, but Ashley and Quicksilver's relationship. This episode just confirmed for me, and I'm sure for you, why Ashley and Quick are together, why they were so important for me. They were the funny of the show, they were the real of the show, and they were the heart of the show. This episode really showed me, like, you know what? Yes, there may have been cheating in situations, and look, I know some people say cheating is a deal breaker for you, but Ashley and Quick for me is the perfect example of how couples can, remember, they were together since they were young, so keep that in mind. But couples can't overcome cheating and have a deep, loving relationship, especially when you're that young. When you're that young, I mean, I've never been in a situation like that. For me, at this point in my life, you cheat on me, we done. Just saying, me personally. So, as you know, they're still at Monique's in need of a renovation lake house. Sorry, Monique, but it does. But you know, this is the thing. We look at property all the time here on the channel. We probably need a separate channel just to talk about property and my love for property and renovations and looking at property and in the future. We got a lot going on over here already and on my podcast. So they're still at the lake house. As you know, Winter last week gave us the divorce song. Some of you love the divorce song. I just felt like it was too pre-produced. It was too pre-produced. I thought it was corny, but some people thought we're entertained. They were like, yeah, they're singing it now, making remixes to it. All right. So because Winter seemed to have made up with all the ladies, she spent the night because she was there the next day. And she seems to be in a better place with all of the ladies. And like I agree with everyone wholeheartedly. If there was no Winter this season, if there was no scammer Kevin, if we didn't have Ashley, the season would have been terrible. It would have been terrible if we had to rely on Arena and Jamie and their fake storyline, if we had to rely on Monique and her constant nagging. And we said this before during our recaps of Love and Marriage DC. I feel like some of these scenes were pickup scenes that they decided to add to the season. Who knows when they were actually recorded? Like that park scene in this episode, I was like, interesting. And what was she really crying about? We'll get there. So let me just pay attention to my notes. So they also say in this first scene that we get with the group is that maybe Kevin was a good thing because Kevin the scammer brought the group together in that moment. I think so. I mean, I can agree with that. If it did feel like Kevin brought the group together after all of his scamming and all his paperwork and he left, Winter was getting along with the ladies. This is a perfect setup for season 2. Okay, we don't need season 2 come fall. Don't break this. No, just give us a little bit of a break from DC and then we'll get into season 2. Season 4, part 2 is coming for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Honestly, I'm not holding my breath for that. I'm not looking forward to that, although we do know there is a physical altercation between Marceau and Martel next season. And also a physical altercation between Melody and Mama Wanda. Okay. Y'all too grown for this. When do we stop fighting physically? I mean, I know grown folks fight physically all the time, but still, it's just like, you think I've gone through my entire life never getting to a physical fight. I'm gonna start now? No. Anyways, so the couples play a game. I don't remember seeing Winter. I know we saw Winter at the top of the episode, but I didn't remember seeing her in the actual couples game. I mean, she's not a couple there, so the couples play a game and they're talking about their different things. We get to see Tasha. We really didn't get a lot from Tasha this season. Am I ready to write her off? No, that just could be editing. Remember, Tasha was the one who used to do Monique's hair when she was on RHOP. So we get to see her and her husband, but we don't get a lot from Tasha during the season. And this is the season finale. And I'm just like, normally, how we talked about the woman we do not speak of on Real Housewives of Potomac. I don't feel like that with Tasha. I just kind of feel like Tasha just didn't get a lot of opportunities. So I'm kind of willing to give her another shot next season, maybe, if she wants to come back. I just feel like we didn't get a lot from her. But I didn't feel like it was forced either. So the couples play a game, and the game in itself is a whole other conversation. But the main thing that stood out to me from that game was that Ashley and DJ Quick, DJ Fun Size, there was a cheatation situation and they weren't able to come on the same page of when they were actually together, when she finally moved in, and who cheated on who. Like, anyone else was confused. It was still very confusing. He pretty much dug a hole for himself because he was like, yeah, you knew I cheated. And she was like, I didn't know you were cheating then, but I know I cheated on you. But we also have to keep in mind, I know some people are like, oh my goodness, how this is such a toxic relationship. They should not be together. We have to keep in mind, these two, I didn't realize this. I mean, I guess it would make sense. They've been together such a long time and they're not that old. They've been together since teenagers. So if you've been with someone since you were a teenager, I'm sure you can tell all kinds of stories. While I've been here in Tennessee, I've been catching up with friends and things like that and having conversations about relationships and their marriages and things like that. So it's so interesting to me, especially for those that have been together for such a long time, the drama that they go through, but are able to overcome. They don't immediately just write someone off and say, I'm getting a divorce or I'm breaking up with you. They work through it and they find their way back to each other. And I think there is something that can be learned and appreciated about those that do that, that do the work in order to have that relationship. Because based on what I've seen and based on what we see with DJ Quick and with Ashley, it's worth fighting for. And once you get to that point, there is this deeper love. And that's the feeling that I'm getting from Ashley and DJ Quick. But this particular game causes an issue for Ashley and makes her annoyed at him. She's annoyed at him. So they're adding, they didn't want the lake house episodes to be boring like it was on Real Housewives of Potomac. So they made sure that there was games and activities for the couples to get involved in. So we go to, I guess this is the screening room in the lake house, and they all dressed up as, musical couples. So Ashley and DJ Quick are honestly, I didn't love that wig on Ashley. We could have did better with that wig. But I actually kind of love that color marcation for Ashley. You might want to try that color. Just saying. I like her with the dark hair, but I was like, she doesn't look bad in that color. I just didn't love the wig itself. So she was Tina and he was Ike. Chris didn't have much. Chris Samuels did not have much of a costume, but his impersonation of the Notorious B.I.G. was on point. I guess for Monique, it was hard to maybe kind of have her dreads with that wig, but she was giving us Lil Kim. And so Lil Kim and Biggie. And Arena and Jamie were Beyonce and Jay-Z. I thought they did a good job with the costumes. Winter comes in, she was like, what is happening here? Winter, you are new to the party. You could just be yourself. I think she said she was going to be Yolanda Adams. Okay. Anyways. But, okay, so let me just remember the things that stood out to me in this conversation. So the couples kind of go around and first of all, Ashley says, I still have an issue with you, but we'll get to Ashley and DJ Quick in a second. The biggest issue for me, look, Arena and Jamie, there's not a lot to say with them. I still feel like they are giving us fake and phony. The only one that's giving me a little bit more in this peeling back the layer is Arena. And I'll get back to Arena and how she peeled back the layer this episode. But Chris and Monique, they have a conversation. Well, they're playing this game, and Chris brings up on how much Monique means to him, but he says, he compares it to another lady. And Monique's like, don't do that. And I know some of you are like, here she go. Here she go. He can never do anything right. In all fairness, because I love to twerk on a fence, in all fairness, a lot of you probably had similar conversations with your boyfriends, husbands, and said, don't bring up your ex. Some people really feel like that. And I think a lot of us forget or choose to forget that our partners have had a life before us. Conveniently. I don't know how I would feel if someone, maybe if my partner brought it up the way that Chris brought it up, I don't think I would have an issue. Me personally. I'm not saying that Monique shouldn't have an issue. And I know we've complained about Monique nagging this entire season. But I do know a lot of you ladies would not like him your partner bringing up an ex. Even if you're saying, oh, I never loved anyone the only person I ever loved on that level was this person, but I love you so much more than that. And he didn't even say it like that. The way I just said it, I could see fighting. You know what I mean? Being mad about. But Monique, I don't know. I didn't see the ill will in what Chris was saying. But like I said, I feel like other people would feel like that in regards to your partner bringing up an ex. But we know that Chris was just saying, I love you more than that. I've only really had deep feelings for one other person. But when I compare the level of love, there's no comparison. And she's like, why are you bringing her up? And I know all of you were triggered. You were like, oh, here Monique go. Here she go. It is what it is. We will get back to that because this causes an issue for Monique, and they address it again. They address it again later. I just want to make sure I cover. Okay. So DJ Quick and Ashley. So up until this point, because of the previous game that they played, Ashley is just perturbed by DJ Quick and this whole cheating, bringing up this conversation, and the timeline's just not making sense, whatever it may be. But they come to such a beautiful place because the big question was, would you marry the person that you're with again, knowing everything that you know now? Okay, Chris says that he would. Monique says, knowing what I know now, because she said she would still be with him, but she wouldn't get married. They would still be soulmates. I don't know. How would you guys feel about that? How would you feel about the way that Monique responded? Do you think that was just Monique's sweet way of saying, no, I wouldn't be with him? She's saying, oh, I would be with him, but I wouldn't be married to him. I don't remember what Arena and Jamie said. I don't even think I wrote it down. It's unimportant. That's how of a non-factor I felt like this couple has been this season. I've liked Arena a lot more than Jamie. We'll get back to them. I don't remember what they said. And normally I would write down those things. I think I was the things that stood out to me, and look, this is my review. I can focus on the areas that I want to focus on. But what stood out to me was Monique's response and Chris's response, but more so Ashley and DJ Quick. Ashley says that she wouldn't have married him based on what she knows now, because she says, I was so young. She was like 19. She was in such a different place. Her explanation to me, that makes complete sense. But even her way of explaining it didn't say to me, oh, I would never be with you. No, she was like, I was so young. I should have waited a little bit longer. But that's hindsight is 2020. But the way that DJ Quick breaks it down and explains that he would have still married her was such a beautiful, genuine moment. It didn't feel like pre-produced. It didn't feel forced. I believe him in regards to how he feels about Ashley and everything that Ashley has done. Because Ashley says, because of getting married so young and being with him for so young, there were a lot of things that she's had to sacrifice to be DJ Quick's wife, to be in this sort of business with him. But his explanation of why he would marry her, why it was so important for him to be with who he's with, I thought was such a beautiful moment. And if she did not forgive him in that moment, I'm like, you are a cold-hearted snake. But she didn't. He has such a beautiful way with words. And I think people that are genuine are able to speak the way that he's able to speak. Like, I believe every word that he said, but I also believe that he did cheat on her. I do believe that he was immature. Do I think that he's cheating on her now? No, honestly, I don't. And based off what we've seen, but look, cheater, pumpkin eaters are some of the most charming. But I don't think that he's cheating on her now. I don't believe that. I really do believe he's matured over the years. Do I believe 10, 20 years ago he was, because he was immature and he had dealing with a lot? Yes. But I also feel like this couple has come a long way, and they've had a lot of bumps in the roads, but they've been able to get over those bumps and come out loving each other a lot stronger. The way that they explained, even though they had different answers, the way they explained it, there was a root of love in both of their explanations. And I don't believe they regret the path they took. Just my own personal opinion. All right. Chris and Monique at the park. Okay, the lake house. We've left the lake house. Thank God. We've left the lake house. Chris and Monique. I feel like this was a pickup scene where they were like, we need to fix this. We need to figure out a better way of making Monique not look so nagging. That's just how I feel the scene felt. So just when I felt like they had gotten over what Chris said at the lake house about bringing up his ex and things like that, she brings it up again. Okay, Monique says that she didn't like that he brought up the ex in his explanation of why he loves her so much. And all of a sudden, it could be just bad editing, because she went from bringing up, you say things that, I can't remember exactly what she said. Oh, I wish I had wrote down exactly what she said, because when she said it, I was like, Monique, the way that you're describing Chris and how he does things and says things without thinking. Here we go, elephant brain. Play the sound effect. I was thinking, you also say a lot of things without thinking about how that's going to affect, or maybe you do say them with a lot of thinking, which makes you manipulative, which makes you cold-hearted. If you are really thinking about the things that you say to Chris, because I don't feel like you think about Chris's feelings with some of the things that you say. And I feel like you are projecting on him. I really feel like at the end of this, Chris really loves him some Monique. I believe he loves him some Monique. He tries to uplift her. He tries to do better. Is he perfect? No. But I feel like Chris loves him some Monique. I don't think Monique is in love with Chris anymore. But I don't know. I'm not in her head. But based on her actions on the show, what we've seen over the years, I think Monique is over Chris Samuels. Personally, I'm not in their marriage. We're seeing a glimpse into their marriage. But the editing of this scene, it kind of went from her being really serious to all of a sudden crying and saying that she constantly feels like she has to prove herself. This is her explanation. I'm not sure where this came from, but she says she feels that she constantly has to prove herself, that she's not, just some doting wife sitting at home. And I can see that. I can see the truth in that she does feel like that. She doesn't want to be considered just some housewife. She wants to be like considered a businesswoman. Even when she was on RHOP, she felt like she had to prove, like, oh, I'm not just sitting at home. I'm managing his business. I believe that she is. I don't think Monique is an idiot. I don't think Monique is your typical housewife. You know what I mean? And not to say a typical housewife is an idiot. What I'm saying, like, I don't think she's just at home taking care of the home. However, let's not downplay what housewives do at the home. That is a job in itself. And I'm not just saying that. The housewives at home, yeah, maybe they have a moment where they're watching TV. But when you got 3 kids and you have a house to manage, things got to get fixed. Things got to get paid. Even if he's paying those bills, she's the one making sure that they're paid on time. She's the one making sure the kids are eating right, doing right, learning, doing well. That is a job, a 24/7 job. But I understand in our society, we don't uplift housewives on that level. We talk a good game, but we don't really truly uplift housewives. So she feels like she's constantly trying to prove herself. And that might be something that stems from her childhood as well as also being in the public eye. So it wouldn't shock me that she feels that way, and she gets really emotional about it. And Chris, again, takes her in his lap and arms, and I just don't feel I feel the emotion for Monique, but I don't feel the connection with Chris in that moment with Monique. Me personally. Guys, as always, this is pre-recorded, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I want to hear your thoughts in the live chat. How would you rate the season from 1 to 10? How would you rate this episode from 1 to 10? And has your feelings about these women that are on the show, the main 3, Monique, Arena, and Ashley, who do you think needs to come back? Who do you think needs to go? I don't see Monique leaving in season, after this season. I see them bringing Monique back. But it wouldn't surprise me if Monique doesn't return after the second season. It wouldn't surprise me if Monique decides not to return after this first season because of the way it's made her appear to the audience. Just saying. So we do have another scene. Speaking of not being authentic, we have another scene with, I can't believe this is the season finale because I felt like we saw it in the preview, Lil Jamie. And I see what you guys said when we first talked about how they referred to him as Lil Jamie. When she hollered, Lil Jamie, you getting ready? I was like, y'all call him Lil Jamie in the house? You know what I mean? I'm just like, call him something else. JR, something. I don't know. It just feels like, yeah, it is a little emasculating. But it also felt very fake. It felt very pre-produced. I do believe the charges are real. Just that scene, them getting dressed up to go meet with the lawyer, and that's a real situation. But we went through this entire season not talking about Jamie Tyler's work. He works for the police. I believe he's retiring, or maybe retired right now. But while they were filming the season, he worked for the police. I'm sure he probably can't necessarily film in his uniform, and but you can talk about it, I'm sure. But maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. I don't know. But there was this. It just felt like we weren't getting 100% this family, and even that scene of them getting dressed and getting ready to go felt very forced, fake. But that's just me. Okay, so they've moved his case to a circuit court or something like that. the most important thing that I got out of this scene was Arena talking about her father and the life that he lived, the criminal life that he led, which led him to be in prison and die in prison. That to me was like, wow. I didn't know that. I thought that was really sad, and that she might be triggered by her son going in that route. So I feel like Arena's the only one that's been trying to peel back that layer, but at the same time, she's also giving us an image at the same time. But that's the only thing that stood out to me in that moment. So Ashley has an event to promote and talk about her new book, Do That Ish. Okay, so this is a great moment, because we thought with Monique and Chris that they would be in a better place after that emotional scene that they filmed last week and decided to insert this week. But he says in his confessional, I think Monique is still mad at me. She's not really talking to him or interacting with him. It's like, there are a lot of things to be mad about. There are a lot of battles that we should avoid if it's just not worth it. To me, this is a battle that you don't need to fight about. Me personally, that's just how I feel. But the thing that stood out to me, first of all, congratulations to DJ Quick and Arena. They do get engaged again during this episode. Cute, kind of gave me moments from Robin and Juan. However, Ashley and DJ Quick's relationship is real. That's just how I feel. But aren't they both from Baltimore too? Anyways. Again, another fake moment for me. And I don't know what producer told them to do this, but they do this. Arena and Jamie go in the bathroom to have sex. Was I half asleep when I saw that? Or was maybe I was half asleep and I made that up in my mind. That was just, first of all, even if they were that passionate about each other, I'm like, that's just weird. I mean, couples do it. I just felt like that was such a weird instance, and I don't believe that's what happened. I don't believe that's what's happened. Like I said to you before, there are all kinds of rumors about Arena and Jamie's relationship and why their sex life is not what it is, and it's not what they were deciding to show us on the show. It's not about Arena wanting more. Arena, is that the foreplay that you were talking about? That was such a, like, really? Is that, like, if DJ Quick and Ashley did that, I would believe it. I wouldn't believe it if I would believe it more if Monique and Chris did it, but I definitely did not believe it when Arena and Jamie did it. Oh, we're going to just go into the bathroom and have a little bit of a quickie. If y'all don't get off this show, take this foolery to TikTok. Maybe they'll believe it, you and your viral moments. Guys, I hope everyone is doing well. I want to know how you would rate this episode, what you thought of these scenes, what moment that I did not talk about that you wanted to talk about so much. Let us have this conversation in the comment section. I want to know your reaction to the season so far. Are you looking forward to a season 2? How would you shape what season 2 would look like? Trust and believe, producers are watching, producers are checking out your comments, and so is the cast. Guys, as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. And don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, Kempire Radio, available on all major podcast platforms. A new episode came out last week, and a new episode will be coming out this week, talking all about the adventures that I had in Tennessee. I'll see you guys later, and